What a game, what a game, what a mighty good game. What a game, what a game, what a game, what a mighty good game. For me at least, I had Tom, 2 out of 3 leads. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Anthony Blake with Flawless Fantasy Football, back with another episode. I just been working with some things and trying to see, we get into the season, so I'm trying to set up a schedule and how we're going to work things this year, okay? So you want your boy to be structured, right? And I want to be structured for y'all, so that's what I've been doing. This episode going to be, I talk a lot about it, my league, my championship team that I built last year. And I just wanted to go over it to you because there were some things in which, I implement as far as my fantasy strategy that I feel works. And so I want to be able to talk about it and show the pros and cons of my last year's team. And also give you guys updates on how we're going to move going forward from this day on, okay? All right. So now, behind me is the meat and potatoes of the draft from last year, going by round. But stay tuned to the end, and we're gonna drop the structure on how we're gonna work things. Not all, but just starting out, fine tuning. All right. We new around here. I'm saying? It's a new family just popping off. We ain't much a month and a half old, basically. So, but we're strong though. We're strong as hell. All right. So we're gonna get to it. We're gonna talk about some things, and I'm no longer a part of this league anymore. But I'm gonna talk about what happened last year. Okay. I was a part of a league last year. I was part of the league since its conception, really. I'm not sure what year. It's not that old, probably about 7, 8 years old, maybe. And it was always my second or third league. This was the year that when I went, that I only had one league. I only played in one fantasy league, which is crazy because this year I'm in 3. And I really didn't want to take on that many. One we're just doing because it's a closeout of a league, but then we're not going to get into that. We're going to talk about that tomorrow because we're going to talk about the 3 teams I have. I'm going to put those on one episode, okay? All right, now, we're going to talk about this one. This draft last year, championship team, I had the number 2 spot. It was a standard draft and 12-man league, and I had the 2 spot. I'll start by saying, how I feel about consensus? Pick who you want. I look in the camera and I'll say that again. Pick who you want. Not what the experts or rest of the people tell you have to pick. Okay? Pick who you want. Not what the masses say you have to pick. Okay? All right? Because normally the masses are going to stick with each other. They're going to be like, oh, you got to pick Christian McCaffrey. Oh, you got to pick Saquon. Oh, you got to pick, at all these years. They're going to, and to me, you're de-weaponizing a person. You're taking away the personal choice a person can make at the 101. Let me tell you, it's not about having the best player, overall player team. It's about having the best team. Actually, it's about having the best team come playoff time. Because when you're in a 12-man league or above, 10-man league, as far as I'm concerned, or 8-man league if they're still out there, it's about having the best team at playoff time. We see that a lot in real life. The best team, we saw Giants take down the Patriots and their undefeated team, and they had just got in. I think maybe they even had a losing record. Maybe they're 7-9 or can't remember. But it's about who's playing the best at that time. Okay? So you have to learn it's a balance. You can't just build a team for now, but it falls off later. So yeah, you'll get to the playoffs, but guess what? If your team's on the decline at the playoff time, it's not gonna hold up to the teams that are peaking and incline. Okay? So you want to build a team for the future, for the present and for the future. Both. in your drafts, okay? Teams that'll get you wins, that'll keep you towards the top of the leaderboard, somewhere in the middle towards the top, and a team that'll be ready to peak come playoff season. Now let's talk about these draft picks. I'm going to tell you what happened. I'm going to give you from what I remember. I looked and I had screenshots in my phone. I went back to the person and told them, and asked them, could I get some information on it as far as what I picked. But I remember I was a part of this fantasy football group, short story. I was part of this Facebook community. And I want to say braggadocious. I don't want to say that. Because I can be braggadocious. Because I believe in myself, not just in fantasy, but in life, okay? That don't mean I'm perfect, but hey, it is what it is. I was letting them know, I was posting my first round pick, second round pick, like screenshotting and posted to this group. And this group had like over 20,000 people in the Facebook group. I'm not even going to say their names because I don't want to give them any promotion. Because F them, and I'll tell you why. Well, basically, last year, the first pick was CMC. What? Right? CMC was the first pick. He got drafted, and the first person felt great. I'm on the clock. Team Profit. That was just my fantasy name for years, but guess what? It is what it is. I'm pretty much Flawless Fantasy Football, the face of it. But my name was Team Profit then. And for that particular league. I drafted number 2 overall. I drafted Derrick Henry. I stood on it. I had my then 7-year-old son making the fantasy pick for me on the laptop. We watched Derrick Henry highlights. I showed him another running back that I knew we were going to get later on. And we watched YouTube highlights because I have a kid that, guess what, he grows up and I'm molding him right. You got to raise your sons up right into football. And was watching Derrick Henry, and he took to Derrick Henry. So I said, so we're going to pick him number 2 overall next week when we start drafting, because we got our draft orders like 9 days before we started drafting. So I picked Derrick Henry number 2 overall. Posted it to this site in this forum, Facebook forum. I had so many people. Why didn't you take Zeke? Why didn't you take Kamara? Why didn't you take Dalvin Cook? That was stupid. You don't know what you're doing. So here I am. I'm just standing on conviction alone. I have to go up against all these people because obviously I'm putting my stuff out there because, I'm transparent like that. That's one thing about it. You might not be able to see this board, but you should be able to see this board because that's how transparent I am. Up here anyways. Not down here. But, so, I lashed out back at him and explained to them why I picked Derrick Henry. Because I saw a pinnacle year coming. Because I didn't believe in Dalvin Cook at that range, because I've had him before and he glassed out on me. Kamara I had the year before, and he ended up running back number 10 in half-point PPR and missed 2 games. Wasn't a believer in Saquon because I will not draft an injury-prone player or a person I feel that's susceptible to injuries with my number 1 pick. I don't play those games, as you'll see in my draft that I'll show in my next video, my drafts. And Ezekiel Elliott. And if you watched any videos, you'll know, I'll tell you, my quote that I got from me is, have we seen the best of them? So if you're torn between 2 players, ask yourself, have we seen the best of this person? Have we seen the best of them? And I feel, especially based off what we saw last night against granted, it was against a stout, Bucs defense. But nevertheless, what we saw, listen, I always felt as we've seen the best of Zeke. The 320 carry Zeke, that's over. The 325 carry Zeke, look, it's especially what he's sharing. Look, I just felt they liked Tony Pollard and everything. he wasn't much of a deal at that point in time, but I just felt we seen the best of him. It's turned into a passing league, so I don't trust Zeke. Okay? So I didn't pick Zeke. And I picked Henry, and we knew what happened. So basically, when I had my championship team and went on my run and did my due, killed teams. Yes, I still lost at times. I didn't have a perfect record. But I went back to that Facebook forum, and I opened up went back to that post, and I started lighting people up about his 2,000-yard season and all, 17, 18 touchdowns total or whatever. And of course, they try to fight back and say, but it was reckless, it was this, it was that, because they're cowards. I started calling them cowards and stuff like that, and they, they're followers and they're sheep, you know what I'm saying, whatever, because what they don't know how to do is project. What I know how to do, Anthony Blake Jr. at Flawless Fantasy Football, I can project. Meaning, I want it before it happens. I don't want to buy it once it happens. I want it before it happens. That's how you maximize your profits. All right, here we go. Let's talk about it. First round, we picked Derrick Henry. Number 2 overall. I had the number 2 pick. Now, if you look at this, and one thing you'll see is very common to how I draft, I picked Derrick Henry. We also know that was an excellent pick because he ran for over 2,000 yards, had hella TDs, and really, if the league wasn't so biased, they would have gave him the MVP because he deserved it. But they ride the jocks of quarterbacks so much, they gave it to Aaron Rodgers. Nevertheless, Derrick Henry was a solid pick at the 1. I'm going to put it over here where the numbers are at because I'm going to be transparent here and tell you what's up. All right. Number 2, second round. Now, mind you, this was at the 2. It was at the 102. Sorry about that 2.0. 102. Sloppy, Tony. Stop being so sloppy. Tony's my nickname. You only got to worry about that, though. At the 102. So, he gets a check mark. Derrick Henry, awesome pick, swell, running on jokers, killing the game, right? Killing the game. All right, second round, I wasn't one of these people that picked CEH. Okay, I wasn't one of these people that picked CEH in the first round like a lot of people did. Because I don't buy into wasting my first round pick on rookies. I just don't do it. Because it's too much of a risk. All right? No, I'm not in the business. It's so easy to miss in the first time round anyway. We've talked about the ADP running back list preseason and how it's a 50% bust rate. So why put a running back on? Why draft a running back? Because you're hoping. You're not going to win fantasy that way. Not unless you got somebody guiding you like me, a fantasy coach like myself. CH, he had that great week 1. We had like 120 some yards or whatever. Could have had up to 3 or 4 TDs, but he got stopped on the goal line. He scored 1. I played him week 1. I probably played CH probably 3 times, maybe 3 times. And mind you, this is not a flex league. It's a 2 running back, 3 wide receiver league. So it's not a flex. You can go 2-3, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, or you can go 1 running back and 4 wide receivers. But that's not optimal to me because it's not a PPR. So CEH was basically a miss. I'm going to call him a miss. I'm going to be transparent here. I'm going to say he was a miss, even though I had a great week 1 from him, okay? Miles Sanders at the 3. So really, I went 3 straight running backs. 3 straight running backs. Because I was just as convicted as I am today as I was back then, just over a year ago. Miles Sanders, I probably played 2, maybe 3 times. He was a miss. He got hurt in the preseason, you remember? He got hurt in the preseason. Coach Deuce Staley, position coach, running back coach Deuce Staley, wanted him to be the man, but Miles is just too inconsistent. He'll break a long run and he'll show you stuff every once in a while, but it just never formulates. That's why he was a do not draft for me. I wouldn't touch him. And so I had a hit, miss. 4th round, this is at the 4-11. No, it's at 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so this is at the 4-11. Almost the 5th round. I picked my first wide receiver. Erroneous Johnson. No, that's not his name. I'm just joking. A.J. Brown, I picked. This gentleman here got picked. This is my first running back. Well, my first wide receiver. First of all, I'm going to give him a check mark right away. Because to pick him in the 5th round, you know how many wide receivers went before him? I didn't do the research. I couldn't see who all got picked before him. But you can only imagine going into the 5th round how many wide receivers were picked before him. He finished as the wide receiver 10 or 11. I'm going to give him 11 based on what scoring format you went with. Wide receiver number 11. Wide receiver number 11. Getting drafted that late. So basically he was a wide receiver 1. Remember, because they go into 12 increments of 12. Wide receiver running back 1 is 1 through 12, or is 1 through 12. 13 through 24 is running back and wide receiver 2. And 25 through 36 is running back 3, wide receiver 3. So yeah. So that was a check mark because I picked a wide receiver 1, a wide receiver that was in the top 12. That did better than Robert Woods. What's the other cat? DJ Moore. And all these other pedestrian ass wide receivers that are getting picked in the late 2nd, 3rd round, and 4th round. I picked one that ended up wide receiver number 11, a wide receiver 1 in the 4th round. Because I know how to project. Especially wide receivers. I can project running backs too. I can project lead running backs. Because of my drafting concept that I've implemented, and hopefully you guys did too. So, AJ Brown was my wide receiver 1. My next pick at the 5, I'll put an R in there for Taylor. He got picked at the 502. I picked Jonathan Taylor. Okay? I didn't start him week 1 because I started Derrick Henry and CEH. I spot started him here and there. I probably got my second start out of him once he started blowing up. I'll tell you what happened after that. You know what I'm saying? Why I only started him that late. But we're going to give Jonathan Taylor Mr. Finish number 6 running back overall. Granted, I picked him in the 5th round because I projected. Everybody now, they're picking Javonte Williams in the 5th round because they're trying to project. It doesn't always happen in the 5th round. It might happen for Javonte, but that don't mean it's going to happen. Because everybody's just looking at the blueprint from last year. They're copycats. They're chumps. They're weak. Jonathan Taylor was a check mark. Come week 9 or 10 or whatever, he took over and they stopped playing games over there in the Colts and letting the little scat bat run around. Just imagine having Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor as your running backs. Not to mention the guy in the next couple of picks. Okay, number 6, I picked Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown did not meet the 6th round expectation. But let me tell you about Hollywood Brown. I only played Hollywood Brown on bye weeks. I'll explain to you why in a minute. But because I only played him on bye weeks and during a certain time, he did not hurt me with bad games. So I'm going to give Hollywood a check mark, and I'm going to tell you why. Yes, he freaking ended up like a high-end wide receiver before, but let me tell you how I did it. Get that off the screen. All right. Put the damn thing in airplane mode for somebody to keep messing around. So, no matter of fact, yeah, I'm going to leave him an X because he didn't hurt me like that. Number 7, 7th round. This is a 12-man draft. I selected Josh Allen. You know how many quarterbacks was off the board when I picked Josh Allen? My choices at that point in time in that round was Tom Brady, Josh Allen, being totally transparent with you, and Matt Ryan. But in the order, it was Josh Allen, Tom Brady, and Matt Ryan. Tom got picked deep into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the 6th round, coming back up towards the 7th round. So I was hoping nobody picked him. Josh. You know why nobody picked him? Because nobody projects like I do. That's why they didn't freaking pick him. Because they need to see it first in order to feel nice and cozy. I don't, because I believe in what the hell I do. because I've been in the game for 2.5 freaking decades. Over. Done some dumb stuff, done some great stuff, and I'm going to share them all with you later. But I picked Josh Allen. I'm going to get a sunbed 3 check marks because we know he was the #1 quarterback last year. And look where I got him at the freaking 702. Where the hell they do that at? Where they do that at? They do that here at Flawless Fantasy Football. That's where they do that at. Damn it. Freaking cowards out here that don't know how to project. So again, let's go back. Imagine being in the playoffs because hell, half the teams in the 12-man league make the playoffs, and you got Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, and Jonathan damn Taylor. You see that damn core? Next, we're going to go to Deontay Johnson, and I'm going to give him a check, and I'm going to tell you why. I picked him at the 8th freaking round. That means I picked him at the 8, 11. 8-11? Damn near the 9th round. He was the wide receiver 21 in half-point PPR. 21. And he got picked up in the 8th freaking round. He finished above DJ Moore. He finished above freaking Robbie Henson. He finished him up. And Kale, he got benched for damn half the game. And he glassed out for 1 or 2. It had the freaking dropsies. Like y'all boys CeeDee Lamb the night before last night, dropping every damn thing. But he's going to be a top 5 receiver. Keep letting people tell you that. He's lucky Gallup got hurt. He got a shot, but still ain't going to happen. Too many freaking great wide receivers for him to be a number 5. I'm still standing on that. I don't care how you feel about it. None of y'all. Deontay Johnson, he was a check. That means I had a strong wide receiver 2. He was a wide receiver 2. So meaning with this core of Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, and Jonathan Taylor, I have a wide receiver 1 in A.J. Brown and a wide receiver 2 in Deontay Johnson because he was the number 21 wide receiver on the year. All right. Now, look at the tight ends. I went Hayden Hurst because I don't promote going tight end heavy, in those 5 through 7 ranges because there's too much goodness out there. So I'm not going to draft a tight end there. So yeah, he was hit and miss. I think he scored 2 touchdowns in the first 4 games. He's going to give you a freaking 10 or 11, or he's going to give you a freaking 4. It is what it is. I'm going to give him an X though because I end up dropping him and picking up Bob Tonyan later on when somebody dropped him, maybe because they had some roster issues. So I'm going to give him an X because he didn't hit, and he didn't even end up in the top 12 tight ends. So no, he gets an X for me, stupid Hurst. Look at you got Slayton on here for the Giants. He gets a freaking X. I'm going to give him 2 X's. But guess what? He was the wide receiver 1 over there. And I think a part of that happened because Saquon wasn't there. And Daniel Jones just liked to get sacked and act the fool. So he gets an X as well. Now I put 11 here because I wanted, this is a little nugget right here. I drafted Antonio Gibson. Mind you, this draft takes place in the middle of August. It's a slow live draft where you have up to 3 hours to pick. But that don't mean you use the 3 hours. You can take 5 minutes to pick. You can take 50 minutes to pick. Actually, you can just live your life and then you pick and do a little research. You're not pressed for time. I think my average pick time averaged around about 20 minutes or something like that after all the rounds. I picked Antonio Gibson. Now, I was the first one on this because I built my team enough. I'm going to tell you the caveat. This is all about knowing your league settings. Last year, remember, because Antonio Gibson was his rookie year, some leagues had him as a running back / wide receiver because they were unsure what he was going to play. Running back / wide receiver. So I took the initiative and I beat my league mates to it and I drafted him in the 11th round. I'm going to give him 2 check marks because I played him as my wide receiver 3. Because I used this wide receiver designation. So my wide receivers, the vast majority of the season were A.J. Brown, a wide receiver 2 in Deontay Johnson, and legitimately a starting running back because of the designation. I started Antonio Gibson. So having said that, along with the number 1 quarterback in Derrick Henry, and spot, I didn't really necessarily spot, but I'm gonna tell you about the next thing in a second. After week 1, I realized CEH was having issues. Maybe I played in week 2, I'm not sure. But what happened was the owner, which is a part of this, family here at Flawless Fantasy Football, because I don't let many people in. It's just not, free like that, because a lot of people don't know about it. Because I'm all about just helping a certain unique group of people. I'm not in the business of trying, I want subscribers, but guess what? I don't want everybody in my business. But the person I know personally, good dude, you know what I'm saying, friend of mine, he actually had CMC at the 1. Well, he felt so great about CMC, he actually cuffed CMC last year with Mike Davis. But after CMC's big 30-something point week, he went to the waiver wire to get somebody, and he dropped Mike Davis. So when I saw that, I'm like, ooh, on the transactions, right? Because you ain't finna just sit up here and drop nobody that got value. See, that's the thing. I hate that word value. Upside has a major ceiling. So I went, after week 2 games, I went to the waiver wire. I believe I was 1-1 at a time, not sure. I can't remember. And I drafted the dude. I picked him up. I took him off the street. And I put him on the team. So we know once CMC got hurt, because CMC got hurt week 2, I I put Mike Davis in alongside Derrick Henry. So I rode him until he started falling off, or until his bye week, and I put in Jonathan Taylor or whatever. And it just rolled me through. I had a team that was good enough to where it got a bye. So as you can see. So with having Mike Davis, and he wasn't CMC. He didn't put up 30-point games, but he stayed putting up doggone 17, 18, 20-point games in a standard league, and that's good because they used him like CMC. So, having said that, I'm going to show you what it looked like come playoff time. All right. This is what it looked like come playoff time. Actually, before playoff time, around about week 9, week 10. It looked like this. Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, and A.J. Brown, which was the number 11 wide receiver. Deontay Johnson, that was a wide receiver 2. As my wide receiver 2. And I had played Antonio Gibson as my wide receiver because he had the running back and wide receiver designation. Because I knew my league settings and I took advantage of that. Okay? So, matter of fact, he was hurt. Remember, I hope maybe you guys remember, he was hurt for like 4 weeks. He had a little turf toe thing, got hurt. That's when I put in Hollywood Brown. And if you go back and you look at the 4 games that he missed, 3 to 4 games that he missed, Hollywood Brown was in my lineup, and he scored each one of those weeks. Think about that. He didn't have great games. He had like 4 for 50-something and a touchdown, but I don't give a damn. He scored. He brought up 10, 11, 12 points in the standard league. That's cool. I'll take that as my wide receiver 3. When you got a wide receiver 1 here that was popping the off, if you go look at A.J. Brown's stats, and towards the end of the year, he just got strong as hell as the season went on. And Deontay Johnson, he was just a wide receiver 2. And I ended up picking up Tanya, like I said earlier, because someone dropped him. So I basically had the tight end number 3 or 4 that he finished on in the year. And I had him going with Tampa Bay Bucks defense. Nobody's going to beat that team. Not many teams are going to beat that team in the playoffs. When you got a number 1 quarterback, number 2 running back overall. Only because Kamara scored 6 touchdowns and got fortunate one time. Won't be doing that this year because there's no Breeze and Mike Thomas. It's going to be tough sledding. See Ezekiel Elliott. I know y'all don't want to hear that, but that's what's going to happen. I'm not saying week 1, but it's going to happen. Jonathan Taylor, which was the pickup. He was the wide receiver, running back 6 overall. So you got the number 1 quarterback, number 2 running back, number 1 quarterback, number 2 running back. 2 top 6 running backs right here. A number 1 wide receiver and basically essentially 2 number 2 wide receivers basically. And the number 3 tight end. And by the time the fantasy playoffs came in before then, Tampa defense hadn't got their head out of their ass. My point is, you find you an elite quarterback. I waited long. I'm not waiting that long this year. I'm not, because I didn't want to do that, because I'm convicted about certain players. If you looked at my quarterback list and you go back and watch the video, I said Tom Brady was likely to score 45 touchdowns and have a pinnacle year this year. He had 4. He would have had 5 had Godwin not got stupid and doggone tried to fight it. And even though I respect him trying, trust me. But one of my opponents actually had Godwin, so it's kind of like, you know. So, look, trust me when I say, and look, I'm not always right. With anybody that has an opinion on so much stuff, something's going to be wrong. But I am wrong less than the other normal cowards that are out there that are scared to stick their neck out there because they ain't got no cojones. They don't know how to reach down and grab a pair. I can reach down and grab a pair. I can reach down and grab 2 pair. Okay, this is a family show. Chill out, okay? All right, so that is the deal. I endorse an elite quarterback in rounds possibly 3, but definitely 4 to 5 at the latest. I don't endorse late round quarterback. I've tried that before. I picked Jameis Winston. He has some good games. He's so damn shoddy. He'll give you a freaking 26 and then he'll give you a damn 6. You're losing that week when this motherfucker give you a 6. And I promote having running back depth. Plenty of running backs. People always ask me, another running back? You saw what happened this offseason? Cam Akers, Travis Etienne, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, 4 freaking running backs before the season even start. Legitimate guys. Even before J.K. Dobbins got hurt, people still wanting to pick Dobbins, pick Gus Edwards as a standalone value type of guy. I wouldn't have picked him because I was sold on J.K. in the second round. But hell, I could have picked J.K. and I'll still reap because I have a boatload of running backs that's going to hit. You know the guys I promote? Javonte, Sermon, AJ, Dylan, Stevenson, Tony Jones, a few more guys. You get them. Then going out there picking your 5th and 6th ham and egg wide receiver. That's stupid. And you freaking, definitely your ham and egg second tight end that you aren't going to use on a bye week. Pick one damn it tight end. Pick freaking multiple damn tight ends. Unless it calls for it. Based on your league settings again. So anyway, that was my rundown for my championship team from last year. Hopefully you guys can learn from it. Hell, my second and third rounds earlier, that was already up there earlier, they were misses. But because I had depth and I was able to